employee executives in transition and senior market people 70 and up. And 29 years in business has taught me a lot. I thought I had it pretty well in handle, but then 2020 handed us all a big flip, which was the pandemic. So we all tried to figure out what we were going to do to keep money going in and clients serviced during the temporary quarantine phase that we had. I actually made a huge jump, I thought, and went and got Zoom. I have never worked virtually and thought I made a big adjustment. This was going to be a big thing, but it was for a short term and we were going to get through it. Little did we recognize that we were going to close down 2021 with a completely new thought process about how we work. Isn't that true, Scott Stevens? Yeah, I mean, it's not only being in the office, it's not just how we're going to work, but now we step back and say, why are we working? And a lot of small business owners, we don't have a lot of time outside of getting the day-to-day done. We're pushing to make our businesses successful, to meet the client needs, to overcome the next shipping tragedy that has happened, trying to get things taken care of at home. And we seem to be going just for the next hurdle. As soon as you get your business legs underneath you, you're starting to wonder, what do I do now? I need to grow it, right? You grow it into something. Is it actually going to be sellable, right? So you're starting to look at why you're working. And after the pandemic, we're having the great resignation. And it's because a lot of people are missing their why, missing a direction and missing a focus. Jared Sobelson on this call. I know your why. What's your why, Jared?
My 8-year-old daughter.
Yeah, that's an awful lot to keep you focused and keeping you up every day. But as you're coming to your business, think before you get to the close. Do you actually have a business that's going to be sellable? Does somebody actually want to give you their lump of money and come sit in your seat and work with your people, deal with your struggles, and get paid what you do? One of the first things that people haven't done in a business is thought early enough, what am I creating here? And how am I going to create a seat as an owner of a business that actually funds my household? Everything's about building the business. It's not about building your own self. As soon as you get additional monies, you need to be looking at what is your pre-tax planning. Okay. One important thing, if you're a consultant, you may want to consider not hiring employees. A large payroll does not make your business more robust and more sellable. Look, I've got this whole office and it's full of employees. Wouldn't you like to take over a payroll? That's not a big selling point, is it? So depending upon what you're doing, you may want to maximize how much cash you could take from your business. By utilizing an individual 401k, most entrepreneurs can get upwards above $50,000 a year into a pre-tax savings account. In addition, there are other necessities. They seem to be a big burden, things like buy-sell agreements, key man insurance programs. That's just an expense that doesn't mean much to you because we really don't think somebody's going to die or that we're going to die. Right? That key man insurance policy, if set up correctly using the right products, not only can provide a payoff that will take care of your family in the event you die or your partner dies. It's not only you. If somebody else dies and leaves you in a pinch, your family's going to suffer because of it. But it also can create a cash pool that you can walk away from your business. If you thought your business was going to sell for, I don't know, $3 million, you get here to the end of 2021 and you're thinking, wow, this has been tough. I think I'm good to go. You go to sell your business and you find out that businesses like yours, comparable businesses, are selling for somewhere 8 to 900,000. Is 8 to 900,000 going to work for you? One of our people here, Jeff Lovejoy, asked a great question on LinkedIn today. There was a commonly known factor of you can take 4% off your money to fund your retirement. They were nice to put that out. That was William Bengen in 1994. He published it in the Journal of Financial Planning. But what they failed to bring up is that the assumptions they made to create that 4% have fallen through. The bond market hasn't yielded. They only took into account domestic stocks and didn't take into any account any global situations in the calculation. Recalculated, it comes down to just less than 3. So if you're looking at how much I need and you're using that 4% thumbnail, that might not be working for you. By looking at your business realistically and saying, what will it sell for? But also trying to get as much assets out of it now, you develop a business that is used to paying the owner. So that when you walk away, you not only have the proceeds of a sale, it may have gone well, it may not have, I don't know. But as you walk away, you can get as much money pre-tax as you can. If you're in a position to hire employees 1099 instead of W-2 to use contractors, that may work for you to enable you to use a individual 401k. If not, I highly recommend using a simple IRA. You don't find financial advisors that recommend a simple. Simple does not pay anyone much, so no one really wants to place them. A simple, if you have employees, everybody in your group can put in about $13,500 a year. There's no comparisons. And if you're over 50, you can put in about 15,000. I used to memorize the numbers. I'm too old now. I don't do that. But doing that, you can inexpensively fund. You're only required to match 3%. And then you can go ahead and use your key man, your buy sell, to give yourself a deferred compensation package that you can walk away with. That not only pads your pocket, but it's also a good tax strategy not to just build up pre-tax dollars. That will train your business to being an entity that funds its owner. If I'm coming in and I want to buy your business, I'm going to look at how is this going to pay me? If I give you my lump of cash, what cash flow am I going to get in return? And if you set up a good strategic model, you're not only going to have money in your pocket in case your business doesn't sell, you're also going to have a cash flow stream that's attractive to a buyer. These are the kind of conversations I have, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a week. And I sketch out with people what they're doing. If you have a small business and you have a couple of employees and you attempt to put in a 401k, the cost of that is minimally about $3,000 a year. That's how the 401k salesperson, not the advisor, but the 401k salesperson gets paid. If you're the lead person in your business and you've got 3 or 4 rank and file people, the way they do the ADP testing is that they will do an average of your rank and file, and you will be able to contribute 125% of the average, including the zeros in that 401k. In order to put any substantial amount of money that allows you to afford Mark McKenzie's wife, who I know, right? You're going to have to put a lot of pre-tax money in order to create a safe harbor plan. And you're going to be contributing an awful lot of pre-tax money in to your rank and file employees who may or may not appreciate deferred compensation. Many employees, if they can't spend it today, they're really not interested in it. So don't go ahead and don't pigeonhole yourself. Look at two ways, not only building a sellable business, but building the cash that you can have in your pocket today.
So Angie,
Yeah.
you threw out one number about not using 4%, but more like 3.5%.
More like less than 3.
Less than 3%. So
Yeah.
for the people in the group, we're all getting ourselves to retirement age. What questions do people have for Angie? Myths they've heard, rumors they've heard, thoughts. Anybody got any questions?
I've got a question.
Yes.
So having transitioned from being an employee of several years to having my own business, through that transition, of course, you helped me. Thank you for that. And with an individual IRA, of course, that's I guess an investment mode. But also, I've heard that if you, and kind of like you mentioned, that if you are a business owner and you can start up a SEP, I guess a simple IRA, is that something that you can invest in addition to an individual IRA?
If you have an individual IRA, okay, if you're not doing anything pre-tax with your company, you can always put about $6,000 into an IRA. And God bless you, but I'm not going to be your wife if you're just putting $6,000 a year away into an IRA. SEP IRAs have fallen to the wayside, I hope and I pray. A SEP IRA only allows you to put in 25% of your net profits as pre-tax savings. If you'll put in an individual 401k, you can put in $19,500 plus the additional $6,000 catch up if you're over 50. You do that by year end as an employee elective, and then out of your other pocket, out of your business owner pocket, you can additionally put 25% profit sharing up to a maximum of about $53,000. If you're over 50 and you get that $6,000 bump up, you can put over 60 grand in an individual 401k, and you are not required to. So if you have a big old year and you can stuff away 60 grand, nice, do it. But next year might be lean. Yeah, it just might be a lean year, and we're all business owners. And as a financial advisor, you would think that this career came with this big buoy of cash money and I just float on it every single year. And it does not. It is definitely the school of hard knocks that I speak from. So some years may be leaner than others and you don't want to be committed. That's if you do not have employees. If you
Lee, does that help?
Does that help you?
It does. Thank you.
So other questions? I think Angie, you can obviously go very deep in this. And for here, we're trying to figure out what's our why for working and how do we fund it for that either retirement or partial retirement and such. Anybody else got questions for Angie?
I have
strategies?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Angie, what is your take on creating a dividend bucket as part of your retirement plan?
Is a dividend bucket, are you talking about paying out of your own business?
No, I'm saying your investments, purposely having a portion of your investments spin off dividends. So, every month or every quarter, you can expect approximately this amount just from those investments as part of your plan.
As part of a plan, that's always nice. We look for multiple income streams. Dividend cash flows are taxed as ordinary income. If they are inside a qualified plan, that doesn't really matter. Then you're just taking qualified plan distributions. But having a dividend income is good. It's just not solid. Depending upon what happens economically, those dividends can stop without notice. It's been very hard to provide dividends for clients, probably about the last 4.5, 5 years, income streams for clients. I do use dividends, and some of the programs that have been used that were based on bonds and funding really have gotten blown out of the water with the pandemic, because a lot of those monies were being derived on BCD loans. And as soon as the PPP started hitting, people who used to pay high interest paid off those loans and those cash flow streams changed. So if you don't rely on dividends, be sure you have another strategy of what's going to happen if those go away, because you really have no control.
Thank you.
So Lee had an interesting comment in the text in the chat as well, where if the stock's tanked, right? So there's always the issue of the stock versus the bond and such. Quick question for, I think, really everybody, and maybe Angie can give her follow-up to it, was if you're using 3 or 4% as your way to spin off money to pay for your living expenses, is anybody worried about spending their money down? Because there's this conversation that says, I don't need to have $1 million when I die. I just need to have enough money to live until I die, which I don't know when. Or are people here really concerned about leaving as much money as they can for another generation, or spinning off money to nonprofits or charities and churches and such? Goes back to your why.
One of the things that, an unpopular part of financial planning that you need to look at is your insurance as well. I work with my clients. That's okay, Paul. I work with my clients to set up and make sure they're taking proper use of Medicare supplements, long-term care insurance, those types of things. There are products that can turn your lump sum of money into a guaranteed cash flow stream. I think that is really good. When I'm doing planning, I look at what you really need to have and look at what you're going to get from Social Security and what I can, given your assets, what we can provide as a guaranteed income stream to make sure that you don't run out of money. I am very concerned about a market downturn right now. Very concerned. If you're holding individual stocks or ETFs, you are able to put stop losses under those. And even if your stop loss says it's good to cancel, it does not mean it's good until you cancel it. It will be good for 60, 90, or 120 days, depending upon who whether it's Schwab, Vanguard, TD, whoever's behind it. And you have to re-put those stop loss orders in. Once it goes down, once you're retired, it's very hard to get assets back up because new money is not being introduced to those accounts.
All right, we got time for one more question.
Yay.
I'll ask another one if no one else will.
Hey.
Go ahead, and then we'll wrap up. Yep.
Okay, so I had a grandmother that had a very long, productive life. Toward the end of her life, she had to have long-term assisted care. Unfortunately, her pension that she had was not able to cover it, and also the money that she had was not able to cover it. So in the end, we had to collectively come out of pocket for her care. But I'm curious on your thoughts on long-term care insurance and what that covers, and if that would cover potentially a situation like that.
Long-term care insurance is awesome. Everyone's caught between because there is no government funding right now for nursing care that covers hospital and medicine. Whether you're looking at having a home care nurse come in, which is very expensive, or you're looking to go to an assisted living center, can also be very expensive. The long-term care insurance is as good as what you purchase. And some people are trying to go for low premiums, which is never fun to pay money, but you need to look very closely at the benefits you'll get and the time period of a benefit, because it's not going to be fun if you've run out of money, you're in an assisted living home, and you only bought a benefit period for 3 years, expecting that I won't go into a nursing home and you're fixing to go, right? Not so often you see people that linger. I actually have my oldest client is the oldest living visa holder in the United States, and she is here from Germany. And November 5th, she turned 112. She cleans herself every day. She spends about 2.5 hours in the bathroom. Her family brought her over from Germany when she was 99 years old, expecting that they would take care of her until she passed. They just thought she was going to pass. And she broke her hip when she was 105. She had hip surgery, well knowing she may not wake up from it. She did great through the surgery, rehabbed, and she's back living in Greenville, North Carolina. She walks with a walker. She cleans herself every day. She doesn't hear worth a darn, and she threw her earbuds, her hearing aids down, and said she'd already heard everything she needed to hear. So Yuli, you need
all
to
right.
watch out. Those European genes may last a long time.
Hi, guys. I need some planning.
Yeah, but
All right, well-
looking at those policies in depth, not for just the price of them, but for what you need and what your family's needs are, is very important when you purchase them, Lee.
Thank you.
All right. Lee, thanks for the question. And clearly there's so many options to think about, and health and long-term care is clearly a big expense to deal with one way or the other. So Angie, thank you so much for helping us understand not just the why, but then what we do with it. As a quick follow-up for everybody, and again, we'll end up with a joke at the end, but let you know that next week we're talking about nurturing prospects, HubSpot and other tactics that True Language is using. And then the week after that, 2 weeks after that, in the beginning of March, Paul Mendel, who we were just talking with, we'll be talking about peer accountability partners. We had such a great conversation with him at the beginning of the year that we're going to pick that up. So please think about some of the people that you work with, you know, that you're prospecting with. Consider inviting them to this, because it's a conversation, much like we had with Angie, sharing ideas of your questions. It's great that we have a good mix of people for that conversation. And Jared's final note there. Well said, Jared, as far as you're being annoyed by it, a financial planner, but so any last words, Jared?
That was not a shot at Angie. I just thought it was a funny meme. 'Cause
No,
it's in the
it
office.
is.
All right, guys.
No, thank you, Angie.
Y'all have a
Awesome
good week.
job.
Y'all have a good week, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.